Okay, so fault isn't at issue in this case when someone rear-ends someone else. So what is at issue is what the plaintiff is owed. And that is where I think the plaintiff failed to bring in the necessary documents, receipts, whatever, evidence to prove what he paid. And there's a little bit of a credibility issue there for me, too, because in his complaint, he says he spent $5,118. In court today, he tells Judge Juarez that he only spent $4,500. So I have a problem with believing anything he says. Now, the car is fixed. I do believe that. But how much is he owed? Now, he did say that if at the time the defendant offered him the $1,500, he would have taken it. So do we give him that?
The private party range was between $3,000 and $4,900 for a private party sale. That's the Blue Book value. It could have been up to $4,900.
It could have been up to $4,900. Yeah. And he paid $4,500 according to him.
Correct.
And we would have to believe him that this was a cash transaction. Right. I believe him. I do believe him that he gave $4,500.
I do too. And the reason I believe him primarily is because the truth didn't really help him, right? It hurt him, which is that he came in here and he admitted he had an estimate of $5,100. And he did say in his complaint, which is concerning from a credibility standpoint, that he paid the $5,100. But he didn't come in here and say, you know, Your Honors, the estimate was $5,100, but I paid $7,500. In which case it would kind of, you know, be one of those, what's going on here moments.
Yeah, I don't know what he spent. I can't.
But that means we would have to disbelieve him, that he's not being credible as to what he paid out of pocket. And I believe him.
I do too.
Here's my issue. The plaintiff has the burden of proof.
Right.
The plaintiff also called into question his credibility. The defendant does not have the burden of proof.
Right.
And we have yet to find any testimony from the defendant that calls into question his credibility. So the plaintiff, in my eyes, has failed to meet his burden. I don't know what he paid to get his car fixed.
You would deny him?
I'm not saying nothing, but I definitely call into question the two quotes. First, he said $5,100 is what he paid. Then he testifies to paying $4,500 in cash. So I believe he got his car fixed. I just don't know how much he spent.
I believe him. So I believe he paid $4,500 out of pocket. But the question remains, since $4,500 exceeds the estimated values, what did you say it was again, Rachel? I'm sorry.
It was between $3,000 and $4,900. The
So
middle
4,000.
value would be $4,000. Although he did testify, and I do credit to a certain extent the fact that this has been a car that has been working well. You know, if you ditch one used car for another, you never know what you're getting.
Yeah, I don't see any reason for penalizing him in any way based upon this testimony. So as far as I'm concerned, my verdict would be to give him the full amount of $4,500, and I believe he met his burden of proof.
It's a close call, but I would agree. I credit his testimony that he paid $4,500 to get it fixed. I'm sympathetic to the view that he would rather fix this car than scrap it and purchase a new car, even if he perhaps overpaid by several $100s. That's kind of the quagmire you get into when you're dealing with a used car. So I would give him the $4,500 too.
Okay, I dissent. There's no proof that he actually spent
You mean that he
$4,500. He failed to meet his
burden?
burden.
Completely.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, we have a verdict.